Hi everybody, it's Jenna from Jenna Stitches. Today is Wednesday, March 1st. I can't believe it's March already. And I'm gonna just kind of call this thing everything I worked on in February, but not really everything. If you're familiar with my channel, you probably know that I usually make a weekly progress video every Sunday to show what I've worked on throughout the week. I haven't done that in like 3 weeks. So I really don't have much to show as far as finished objects go, and the only whips I have going right now, I'm proud of myself, are the 2 big blankets I've been working on. So the Casablanca mosaic blanket for my husband and the 4 blanket for 2 of my coworkers that are getting married. As of right now, those are my only 2 whips. I have made some small projects and I have finished other projects I had going. Technically, I have another whip, but it is a tutorial, so I haven't worked on that in a while because I haven't had time to film the tutorial for it, and I can't go any further on it. But that's typically what I do. But again, I haven't really filmed one in about 3 weeks, I think. Couldn't tell you why. So I'm just going to kind of show everything that I have finished within those last 3 weeks. It's not everything I finished in February. I think there's like 1 or 2 other projects that I did finish as well. But I'm kind of just going to show you everything I've done since my last weekly progress video. If I'm correct. I'm pretty sure. I haven't really been keeping track of anything either. So I'm not even going to pull out my crochet planner because I know I did horrible for the month of February. My hair looks funny. I need to re-dye it too. I don't know why that meant to make a really funny face, but I did. And now I distracted myself and I have no clue what I was saying. Oh, I did horrible keeping track of like what I was working on and what I wanted to work on in the month of February. And I tried to already plan out March, but I'm kind of drawing a blank on what I want to work on. There's nothing specific besides like 1 or 2 projects. So I don't have March really laid out yet either, but I do plan on getting back to it. But anyways, there was 2 projects, I believe, that I started in January and I did finish up in February. So I'll show those first. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you like what you see, please think about like, commenting, subscribing, and sharing. I would really appreciate that. And if you're returning, welcome back. If you are returning, you probably know everything I was just talking about. If you're new, you probably are lost. But I'm going to show you everything I've worked on. So the first thing I finished, I started on January 4th. But I finished it the 26th, so over the weekend. What was that, Sunday? And that is my tilted tunic. And I just realized I have a couple ends hanging out, and I thought I weaved them all in, but here it is. Ooh, finished. It is very tilted. And it's kind of hard to see like the neckline and everything on it, but it's there. I'm going to insert a picture of me wearing it, so I'll insert that right here. Hopefully I remember to do that. Oh yeah, I got lots of ends hanging out. And I got to the point down here. So at some point in this, I would say probably right around here, you can kind of tell. And I think this is inside out now that I'm looking at it. That's why my ends are hanging out. But you stop increasing and you just work in the round down, right? I believe so. And I kind of got really bored with it because while it doesn't, it's a repeat pattern. I think there's about, technically it's a 13 row repeat, but it also depends on what size you're making, how the repeats go. So I think my repeat ended up being about 8 rows, which in hindsight is a lot, but when you're repeating it over and over and over, I was getting bored. So towards the bottom here, I kind of just did my own thing. You can, well, I mean, it's still pretty accurate with the rest of it, but I was having a hard time like keeping track of what row I was on, and then I kind of just got done with it, so I decided to put the, what is this called? Brim? No, that's a hat. What is this called? This part on. And I extended mine a little bit longer than the pattern called for, just because I ended the tunic a little bit shorter than I wanted to, but I was just done working on it, so I decided to make this a little bit longer, and the length of it is actually perfect. Again, I'll insert that picture of me wearing it, and actually I'm going to insert two, so I'll insert the second one here. I'm going to have to watch this back and make sure I actually do that with and without a belt, because I think I like it a little bit better with a belt, but I like more form-fitting clothes to begin with, so wearing it just as itself, letting it like drape, I guess would be a word. I didn't really care for how it looked, and I spent way too much time on it for it to not be something I wear. And then for the sleeves, you are supposed to do a full repeat of the rows that you did for the shirt as well, so that you can have the same pattern in the sleeves. I have mentioned previously when I made a sweater that I don't really care for sleeves. I don't really care for anything on my arms. If I could, I'd wear tank tops all year, so I only did a couple rows of double crochet, and then I did a ribbing on it to finish them off. So for me, they are perfect length. They hit me like, I don't know, probably right about here. So mid upper arm. I can't think of words today, which is perfect for me. So there it is. And I did get kind of sick of color controlling towards the bottom, but you can't even tell. So it came out really good. The only thing I wish I would have paid attention to is this sleeve looks like it goes perfectly with this when I have it on, where this one kind of looks out of place. So I wish I would have color controlled that a little bit more, but I honestly only had yellow left by the time I was done with this. So, yeah, there that is. Then, what's the other one? The other one I had started in January and have just finished is my bag. And I'm just calling it the purple green circle bag because I have no creativity when it comes to naming things. But here it is. Now I still do need to line this, but other than that, it is completely done. So I started this January 26th, finished it yesterday, which for me was February 27th. For you guys, that was 2 days ago. And honestly, there was quite a long time where I didn't work on it. It was done with one of the straps done, and the other strap started for about 3 weeks before I picked it back up to finish it. So here it is. Here's the straps. I absolutely love how this turned out. This is my own design. I didn't really follow a pattern or anything. For the tilted tunic, I will have the pattern linked down below. This one, there is no pattern. And I love it so much. So I'm gonna probably this weekend get that lined so I can possibly start using it, but I've mentioned before I hate carrying purses and stuff like that, so I probably will not carry it, but the thought is there. And then that takes us kind of into mid-ish February, because that's about when I made my last video. So the next thing would be, where is it? There it is. The Sea Star Oceanside Cowl. This is a paid for pattern on Etsy. Can't think of the name of the shop right offhand, so I will have it linked down below. But I did make the hat for it last month. You can see that in my January videos. Towards the end of January, I believe I made it. And then I had started this cowl in January. I don't remember when, so I just wrote down February 10th. But I don't know, I liked working on it, but I never wanted to at the same time, if that makes any sense. But here it is. So again, this is called the Sea Star Oceanside Cowl, and this is made out of Karen Cinnamon Swirl cakes in the colorway Tropical Breeze. I used a K-hook on it. And look at my lovely seam, but there it is. So just a simple cowl. And I did not mention with the other two, because again, I haven't filmed in a while, so I'm kind of out of practice here, but the green and purple circle bag I love this cotton, and the green is bright citrus, the purple is amethyst, and the black is black. And then my tilted tunic, I used Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton in the colorway Zesty Wishes, and that was a I love this cotton, no, sorry, Sugar Wheel Cotton that was on clearance. I believe the past, like, really big clearance sale that Hobby Lobby has, so you can't get that colorway anymore. But this is made out of the new cinnamon swirl cakes, in Tropical Breeze. And I do like this yarn a little bit more now that I've worked with it. I know if you watched my previous videos when I did a little like show and tell review of the yarn, and then when I made the hat to go along with this, I was not a fan of the yarn. I do like the yarn more now. I still don't really like the colorway of this one. I don't think this green fits at all. I think if they took that green out of it, I would be much more happy with it, but I also kind of don't like this purple. I just don't think they go with the brightness of this blue and this yellow, and even this like orangey color here is okay, but this purple and this like olive green just don't fit in here to me. But there that is. And then I've made quite a few hats. Oh, before that, I did make a second Sophie doll. So I did show the first doll I made in my last weekly progress video. I was making 2 of them. These are going to be hopefully a gift for my aunt's niece on the other side of the family, so I'm not related to her, but my aunt's niece on the other side of her family is having a little girl. She already has a little girl who's not happy to be a big sister, so she asked if I could make them matching cardigans and matching dolls, and I did. So I have showed both the cardigans already and one of the dolls, but here is the second doll. And again, I'll have this pattern linked down below. It's called the Sophie doll. I can't offhand think of the creator though, but this one did come out a little bit different than the first. You can't see the first from here, but she's right behind me. The only difference is I ran out of most of the yarn I made with the first, except for the dress. So I had to get the skin color here. With the first doll, I used Yarn ID, a Hobby Lobby yarn in the colorway Oats. I did not want to go all the way back out to Hobby Lobby, and their shipping takes too long, so I went to Walmart and grabbed Red Heart in Buff, and she is a lot darker than the other one. Also, I ran out of the brown I used for the hair on the first one, so I grabbed Mainstays Brown, and honestly, in person, it does not look brown at all. It kind of looks gray. So that is a little bit different, but the rest of it is the same. But there she is. Also, her head turned out a little bit smaller, and I think that was just because I didn't want to make it any bigger. And when I first finished her, her neck was standing up really good, and now it's floppy. So, yeah, there she is. Then we have a boatload of hats, which really is only 4, but I did continue on with making 1 hat a week, and I think at some point I actually made more than 1 per week. Where is the first one I made? I have my little notebook that I write down all my projects in. So I don't think I've showed this before, but sidetrack. I write down the name of the pattern, the start date, the finish date, what yarn I used, and what hook I used, and what brand of hook I used. Because all the brands I use, I crochet very differently with, so I tried to stick to that same brand too. I noticed I didn't do that with some of them. And at some point, I think towards the beginning of the year, no, I didn't do it. I thought it was writing down who the creator was as well, but I guess not. But I do kind of plan on going back through and doing that. Maybe. I don't know. Now that I think about it, I probably won't. But the next one is a bean stitch crochet hat. Don't know where this pattern came from. I know I just typed in like kids hats on Google and found it, but if I can find it again, I will link it down below. This is the bean stitch crochet hat. I did this on February 13th, and it is made with Red Heart polo stripes. I used a 4mm hook so that it would be a little bit smaller since it is for a child. I love this though. I need to get more of the polo stripes because I love the colors in it. There is that. Next hat is this one. This is called the Layered Cake Beanie. This is by Kristen Holloway, so it's KristenHollowayDesigns.com. I use a lot of her hat patterns. I did this one on February 20th. And this one is, I love this yarn in hot pink and soft pink, so I had just a little bit of the hot pink left. I'm trying to make hats out of all the leftover from the heartthrob blanket that we made for our things we're making Thursday in January. So I have quite a bit of it left still, so I've been making hats out of it. So I ran out of the hot pink, so I finished it up with the soft pink. And there this is. This hat was a lot of fun, and the top of this is just gorgeous. Like, I know no one's really gonna see the top of the hat, so that's kind of unfortunate because it's so pretty. But that same pattern does repeat all the way down. It just doesn't look as pretty when the hat gets bigger. It's still a gorgeous pattern, but that is just so pretty. And then the next two hats I just made the other night. And these are also by Kristen Holloway, and it's just called the Unlimited Beanie. I just wanted something simple and quick. So here is one I made out of Mainstays Brown. This one turned out a lot bigger than I expected. These are supposed to be kids' hats, but it's almost a little, I guess it fits okay. Brown is not my color though. This is out of Mainstays Brown, and it again is a really simple hat. You start at the top, and everything's done in back loop only. It's one row of single crochet, one row of double, one row of single, one row of double to get the look that it gives. And very, very simple. Again, just one row of single, one row of doubles repeated down, but in the back loop only, and you get this really cool design that looks a little bit more difficult than it is. So there is that. And then I made another one last night out of the leftover cinnamon swirl cake that I had. So when I finished up the cowl, the Sea Star Oceanside cowl that I just showed earlier, I had just a little bit of the Tropical Breeze cinnamon swirl cake left. So I just made another unlimited beanie with it. So same exact thing. And because that pattern is so simple, it only takes me about half an hour to 45 minutes to make it all together. So I can fly through those. And then the very last thing I made, I actually finished this last week, I think. I don't know if I have showed it before because I remember people commenting for me the colorway difference in my grays. So I did finish the corner to corner Batman baby blanket I was making for a coworker of mine. Oh, it's upside down. And here it is, and I love this so much. So again, I know I mentioned this before, but I am so happy that we did the Heartthrob corner to corner blanket for our things we're making Thursday, January project, because now I was able to make this and not mess up on it because I knew what I had to do. But the Heartthrob blanket was my first time ever doing like a Grafghan type corner to corner. And if you watch those videos, you know we all really struggled with that blanket. So this time, yes, it's a lot smaller project, but I was able to pay more attention, or know that I had to pay more attention to everything and not make any mistakes. So I love it so much. My husband is a huge Batman fan, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and eventually, not anytime soon, because I still got to finish his mosaic blanket. And then I committed to making corner to corner blankets for my mom and my cousin for their birthday, so those got to get started soon too. So probably more towards that next year, towards his birthday, I want to make him one in an adult size. And I did mention the first time I showed it that the grays are different. So you can barely tell. And it does, I mentioned in the first video, maybe it will look intentional because it's kind of like at the halfway point. And to me, it does look intentional. It looks like I purposely decided to change the grays. Even though the color difference is so minimal, it kind of looks like I purposely decided to switch to a different gray. And that shows the importance of checking your dye lots. Is that what they're called? Which I never do, and I really don't care too much about, but these are the same exact brand of yarn in the same exact color. I don't even know where I got the original gray from. It's just something I pulled out of my stash, and then it was Mainstays gray though, so I ordered from Walmart Mainstays gray, and when it got to my house, because I didn't feel like going to the store, or actually, I think my husband was at work when I did it, so I wouldn't have had a vehicle. I had it delivered to my house. I was like, oh, those are not the same grays. But I think it looks really good either way. But yes, same exact brand, same exact colorway, but at different times and very different looking when you look at it close up. Also feel much different. This one, which I had for a while, don't know where I got it from, is so much softer than this one, which is a little, I mean, it's not scratchy by any means, but it's denser. Like, it doesn't fold as easy as this one, where this one's like smooshy and soft. I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody, but there it is. So that is finished. I just got to weave in the ends, and then I keep contemplating, and I know she's due like really soon, making a baby hat or not. So I might just go ahead and get on the ball and make that so I can get this mailed out to her. But that is everything that I have finished since the last time I made a video. So about 2.5 to 3 weeks. As far as whips go, I think I mentioned earlier, I feel like I've been talking for so long I don't remember now, but the only 2 whips I have going are my husband's Casablanca mosaic blanket and the 4 blanket that I'm making for my coworkers. I have made progress on the 4 blanket, which I'll show in the next video. I figured I had so many finished projects, which honestly is usually about a week's worth of work for me, and was about 3 weeks worth. But I figured since I had so many to show that I wasn't going to show the blankets, because yes, I've made progress, but not too much. So I'll show that in next week's video. But my plan for this week is to work on the 4 mosaic, or the 4 blanket and my husband's mosaic, and my things we're making Thursday, and that is it. So I should get quite a bit of progress on both those blankets. But that's all I got for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all tomorrow for things we're making Thursday. Bye.